Sweet.
Exactly.
All right. A one,
Cool.
a two, a three, a two. Well, up to you.
Hello, Douglas.
Hey, Kristoffer, how are you?
Good, thank you. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of, gee, I've got a lot of energy these days. I know I put some stuff out and intriguing everyone. I'm just activating slightly differently and adding some elements that I've actually had for 20 years. And the difference is immense. So I feel like I'm still on a journey, but I'm invigorated to another level. So it's very exciting. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to when I'm back with you, because then I will share and then we get to see what's really going on. There's some funky stuff happening.
Sounds like something for the day with Doug.
Yeah, it could be, but you know, it's kind of, it's interesting because every single principle we talk about is all I'm doing. That's it. And I'm just doing it better.
Yeah.
And I'm taking care of me better. And so I'm just finding that it's quite a joy, because obviously I've been teaching almost 20 years, no, 18 years. And I've had all of my moments in this work where I've changed and I can feel it. But obviously in sharing it all over the world, I've seen thousands of people have those moments. And it was quite amazing to actually stop and go, I'm not going any further until I find that for me again. And that was cool.
Cool.
You know, because we had an amazing trip. In November, it was amazing being back with you, and amazing being back in Denmark, and what a wonderful group we had.
Yeah, definitely.
But the trip was difficult, dude. It was difficult because, as you know, every time we finished a work of the day, we'd have to check to see how the rules of travel had changed and all of these crazy things going on. So I realized at the end of the trip that as much as the trip was wonderful, successful, amazing, reconnecting with everyone, it was the first time that I actually couldn't just be the child that came up with this crazy stuff in the first place. And so my goal has been to bring that back, which means I can really bring more of the curiosity and the play that allows us to really learn well, which is what you guys have always had, you know, from me. And but now it feels like inside myself, like something, it's ramped up another 100%. It's very cool.
Cool. You know, we'll always go into the advanced stuff right away, Doug. So we need to, well, there's some people that's going to see this that's never been on a course before. So cool. I'll do what you do on every course. So let's say hello.
Perfect.
So who is Douglas Heel and why are you here?
So I think that's great. So, wow, 1996, I qualified as a physiotherapist, 4-year degree. I actually did 6 years at university because I enjoyed it so much. But I've got to tell you, by the time I qualified, I was already frustrated. It was bizarre because I thought I was signing up for one thing and I got something completely different. I got a series of recipes, and this is what you do when you see this, and this is what you do when you see that. And every time I ask questions, they go, no, we don't do that. Or no, and I found that frustrating because I'm a believer that the body is amazing and it will change if we find the right things. And I just realized that we weren't doing enough of the right things. And so immediately I was on a journey. Before I even had my graduation ceremony, I was already doing acupuncture courses. And that was cool and exciting and new. And then even there I went, this is cool, but there's something missing. And so my journey went, and I worked in the UK for 2 years, locuming around in different hospitals, learning from physios who've been there, some of them 50 years almost. It was quite amazing, the different learning from different people. But what I saw was frustration, complete indifference, because they didn't believe they had an answer. So they just, we do this, this, and this, and that's what we do with everyone. Let's put a hot pack on here. Let's do this, let's do that. But at the same time, I've always been a talker. I would want to explain to my clients what I was seeing and what was going on. So even then, with what I had, the results happening, but none of them, none of the things that I was doing was actually what I was taught. And that was what was interesting. And along the way, I had some head of departments that didn't like that, and I had others who encouraged me to go further into that. And that was what was quite amazing. And so it was a journey of learning and asking questions, and along the way, lots of learning, lots of courses, lots of different things, like in so many different directions. Be Activated started to develop. When it first started, I called it muscle activation, but apparently there's someone else who's got a name, muscle activation, something else in America, who didn't like that. You know, at that point, I wasn't thinking about teaching it. I was just doing something myself. And it was amazing, because the minute people overseas, so I'm in South Africa. Yeah, let's start with that. I live in Cape Town, in South Africa. It's summer. Yay. It's wonderful. But when I started showing people overseas, they were all like, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I just assumed that you guys, this is just what you did, and we were the slow ones. Actually, I had no idea that my thinking was that different, that actually nobody knew. And I was being invited to like conferences and things where I was with the top teachers, the top presenters, the gurus of fitness, the gurus of that. And I was kind of being invited, often not to speak, but invited because I wanted to know what I was doing. And it was amazing having top guys, Gary Gray, you know, he father of function in America, kind of going, Doug, I have no idea what you're doing, but that was amazing, because we pushed 3 tables together in a restaurant and put him on the table and tested him. And that's the cool thing about this work. It's like you could just do it anyway. And guys like Gary were amazing. He's like, how can we support you? I don't understand what you're doing, but I felt the difference, and it's amazing. And how do we help you? And you know, like Gary, being an incredible human being, just said, why don't you send me what you've got? So I sent him all of my training programs. And he says, cool, I'll send you mine. So I sent him, which was probably about 6 DVDs at that time. And he sent me about 120 DVDs of this insane, huge library, going, I hope this support will help you and support you, not drown you. But so along the way, they're amazing people who are doing amazing work. And there are also a whole lot of people who are frustrated doing the work that they're doing because they're not getting the results. And the thing is, I think the exciting thing about what we do, and I say we because you and I have been in this journey for quite a long time now, is we want results. And we know the body is, the possibility of results happens in the body. So, you know, we were chatting just before we started, just is a young guy that I saw today, one of my son's friends, in the first team rugby, like squad. They're training now. It's still summer. They shouldn't be training yet, but they are. And they train 5 days a week, and it's hard. But right leg shut down, shin pain, shin splints, calf locking down. He can't run. He can't all of these things. For at least the last 6 weeks, he's been going to physio at least twice a week. He's been having all different things, shockwave on the area, this thing, that thing. And, you know, Amy and I had been out with his folks a few weeks ago, and I just said, look, that sounds awesome. How's it going? Well, we're doing all of this, and every day we do this. And I said, listen, I'm here. I'm just telling you, I am here, but it's up to you guys. And I was doing something at the school with one of the water polo teams yesterday, and I saw him, and he had the sock on, and he could only walk on for his practice. So he was throwing the ball while kind of walking. Couldn't participate at all, but he needed to show that he was there. Of course. And he's committed, because he is committed. And I just said, dude, come, we need to get together. Please let me show you a different way. And I'm going to, if there's a little clip at the end of this, for anyone who's watching, it's because his parents gave me permission to share a little bit with it, because I filmed the session, not perfectly. I just set the camera up and or my phone up. Yeah. But basically, when we looked at his body in the 1, 2, 3, which is, why is your body hurting like this? You know, page 10, I think it is, of level 1 manual says a 3, 3, 3 leg is this, this, and this. and these are the symptoms, and this is how it impacts on that. So he's telling me about his right leg. I said, wow, how's your left shoulder? Quite unstable. He goes, what did my mom tell you? I said, no, it's in my level 1 manual. It's a pattern of function within your body. And so we had we got all the baselines. His start for his calf range was -10. This is an athlete. This is a rugby player who's training for 2 hours a day, at least. And he's got that little function. Just so you understand, anyone who's listening, 5 degrees is the minimum to stand, just because of that little bit of rocking motion we do. He needs 20 to 25 in order to function. And he had -10. Now, if your brain's going, oh, that's rubbish, how could he have -10? He had -10. And we see it often in these patterns. So what was amazing, we did his pattern testing. He was a 3-3-3 leg, exactly as we anticipated. On the other side, he was a jaw driver, which meant the jaw was driving his other leg. Yes, that should sound weird, but it was perfect because he got it. He immediately could see the pattern. And so here's this young guy, 17, 18, who suddenly goes, I actually get how my body's doing this. And I go, awesome. So what we're going to do is we're not going to touch your calf. We're not going to work on your shin. We're not going to touch your foot. We've got your baseline. And by the way, his hamstring was 35 degrees as a start. And so I'm going, hey, dude, bare minimum 90 degrees. And he's like, oh, that's a long way. Geez, are you like going to stretch me hard? Because guess what? That's what everyone's been doing. Stretch him. So he's had 6 weeks of physiotherapy. Top guys, private practice. This costs a lot. And he's at 35 degrees with -10 degrees in the calf. So that's after being worked on. Blah, 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 blah. So we always start a sequence, the way the body works. Well, you have to start with breathing. So because we've got all our measures, we started with breathing. It was very locked up. Suddenly he's going, what is that? And his hamstring shoots up to 75 degrees immediately.
Nice 40 degrees.
His foot went from -10 to 3 degrees just with the diaphragm, because the diaphragm is starting to reconnect the whole body. His neural system, his patterning was in an imploding state, a collapsing state. And so the harder he trained, the more it collapsed. And it had reached the point of breaking and he couldn't come out of it. And so going and pummeling the area that was already shut down is never, ever, ever going to change it. So as we always do, after the breathing, we got him up walking. He's like, whoa, my foot's not really hurting. I go, yeah, that's cool. That's just the start. So then we go into the next layer, obviously psoas, and then into the glute. Now we've got zone 1, at which point he's getting up, walking, going, I feel like running. I'm like, well, let's go run then. So he goes outside on the grass and he's running as his mom arrives home. And she's like, what are you doing? What, Mom, I'm running. Like there's no pain. And she's like, oh, that's cool. Like, how's that possible? You've been miserable for 6 weeks. And so he actually comes up to me and he says, it's exactly what you said at the start. It feels bruised, the area that's been painful and I couldn't move it. It still feels, there's like it's a bruising, but there's no pain. I said, yeah, because the tissue has been locked up for all this time and it's going to have that bruising feeling. And we were only on zone 1. So we continued through. And at the end, it was magical and amazing and all of these cool things, as in he had no pain. He was kind of going, God, I can feel my feet on the floor. This is amazing. I want to do this. Can I go jump in the pool? Can I do, and suddenly from what he can't do to what can I do, which is always amazing. And this is such a great kid as well. He's a good guy. So it was amazing because the only thing that I did that was directly related to the calf was I did work around his fibula head because the nerve was caught. And obviously the nerve is caught because the calf has been so tight and the tibialis has been so tight that it squeezes the fibula up against the tibia and catches the nerve. And so that entirely impacts on foot function. So when I was doing the fibula head, he's like, oh, that's one of the pains that I get. I go, of course, free his feet. That's when he goes, oh, geez. And my foot feels like it's a full foot on the ground. like as in the whole foot, not like a part of a foot. And that was 1 hour. And for 6-7 weeks, this kid has been, well, 6 weeks he's been going for therapy. And at least twice a week, his dad says he's been doing massages and stretches every night, helping him. He wants to help his son. And it's kind of what I said to his mom later was, you can't solve a problem with the same mindset that caused it. So if a certain type of training made the problem, you can't solve it by doing more of that. It never works. You've got to step back and look at the bigger picture and go, why is your body doing that? And then we go and we reset the system. So literally we reset his neural system so that it would start firing in a way that would allow the area of pain to stop having to hold tight, and be afraid, in a sense.
I always say to people that you want to be good at being good, you want to be good at being bad. Because you can if your body is in a bad place and you train like crazy, you'll be really good at being bad.
Yeah.
And then, if usually people say, I'll take the good part, thanks, and then build on top of that, because that's the place you want your body to be, and then it's a good idea to train, exercises, everything.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know if you saw the email this weekend, but what I was saying in that email was there are actually 3 places and ways of thinking about activation, or times. The one would be like this kid. I'm broken and I want to get back to function. Okay, so it's a healing process. Then there's the stuff we had for the community, for the corona, all the corona stuff. Here's how maintenance. So this is how to keep yourself where you are.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that for about 2 years, 2.5 years, maybe longer actually. And about 5-6 weeks ago, I decided to do the other one, which was I want to get better, which is where you set a place you want to reach. And each thing we're using activation to enhance our physiology, to move us, to either move us to a place of function, keep us in a place where we want to be, or take us to a higher level. And so it's amazing when the brain and the body line up, and then we do things that facilitate that. How insane! Like I'm so excited that like this real clever dude in South Africa figured this shit out. I just never realized it was me, because like I almost haven't been applying it as well as I could in all this time, and yet it's like I like when I'm with you, and when I'm like in the UK, that you kept saying, where do you get all this energy from? You've just been teaching for like 10 hours and you still have energy to go out and sit at dinner and like, I went to Scotland, and then I went down to Dorset, and Sue and Bev, like each night we're sitting up late and Sue's just going, where do you get the energy from? Now the weird thing is that energy was my maintaining place. I found a new energy. I hope people are scared.
Ooh.
Because this is the one that kind of ignites the creative, the new. Hey, let's look at a new way of looking at all of this, and it really is quite something, because so it feels like what we talk about expanding the system. I just feel like there's a whole lot more energy to tap into to get things done, to do the work, to teach, and I think that. For me, what it's done is expanded my possibility of what this work can do, and I think if someone's watching this for the first time, you go, well, I'm a therapist. I do musculoskeletal. Guess what? So do we. But then you might say, I'm a therapist. I work with neurological stuff. Excellent. So do we. We completed, just before all this lockdown stuff, we did a 4-day Parkinson's trial. Results insane. What wonderful people that showed us what's possible. So all neurological stuff. I'm exhausted. I've got so many clients with long COVID. Oh, really? So do we. In fact, I'm talking to the long COVID. I want to call it the commission, but they're not a commission. They're a whole lot of doctors in the UK, and we're seeing what we can do. Why? Because they don't know what to do, and they came to us, they came to me and Stephen, or through Stephen, and went, you guys are getting results. What the hell are you doing? And all of this is the body's possibility. So you're working with athletes. Oh, you work with athletes, aren't you? Like, I know you're meant to be at the Olympics of some sort and you chose not to, but normally you're working with athletes to make their athletic performance better, or managing an injury they've got while training, or all of those levels, or maintaining them. So it doesn't matter where you are in the spectrum of life, this will work for you. We just have to put the focus around that topic for you.
Yeah, definitely. And we have a lot of therapists and physiotherapists, massage therapists, but we also have people that have no training, being curious of how the body works.
And usually those well, you've got to always ask, where did they come from? They were the ones who were with the therapist, who did this stuff that made them feel so different, so much better, that they wanted to know more. And so we never say no. You're always welcome to, because we want to teach you stuff that will help you. I can't be asked to be there for 2 days or 4 days and just go blah, 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 and hope this works. I want what we share with you and what we teach to have an impact on you, to have an impact on your practice, your business, and your life, because it should. Anything that's really working should be doing that. If it's not doing those things, then I'm already bored, and that's just me.
Yeah.
I think having impact is important.
Definitely, and the empowerment. I think one of the main things I enjoy with this work is empowering people to take care of themselves.
Oof, yeah.
And then
taking responsibility for themselves.
Yeah.
It's not somebody else's job to fix you.
No.
So we facilitate, we help people. You heal you. Yeah, baby. Yeah. And the thing is that what makes it so interesting is, so Be Activated, as you know, has a clear structure and outline, a framework. But that framework allows so much creativity and taking it to any different place. That's why no workshops, no level 1 has ever been the same, because everyone who is on the table experiences things differently. So everyone learns what's possible differently. And so, a lot of times people go, I heard people come back on your courses. No, that's incorrect. People come back a lot of times on the course. Just in Denmark, we've got some who've done, I don't know, 6 level 1s, 4 level 2s, maybe even more than that. And it's kind of, I always joke and say maybe they're slow learners. No, actually, it's fascinating. They're starting to realize how much is actually there. There's a simpleness and there's a framework, but there's a complexity, of course, and there's detail that you learn. The more you get the basics right, the easier it is to start to understand and delve into the detail. And kind of, so for me, it's always, I'm still learning. And so when I learn stuff and when I find stuff, I share it. I don't mind sharing it, because there's always more. It's fun.
Cool. Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to having you again this May, late May.
May. What is it? 20th to 24th, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Sure. Yeah. So there's a bit of sunshine on your side then, isn't there?
Should be, yeah. It's been a long ass winter. But,
but this is kind of interesting, because obviously we've had all this craziness. It's not completely over, but we'd like to think it is. Around Corona and all of this, and so it brings an edge, and there's a huge element of mental health that comes into this now, and we're seeing that fallout. But then you also go straight into dark winters and cold, and historically we've chatted about this a lot. In Denmark, there's a whole lot of seasonal depression. So now you add a really pretty much overwhelmed system into crappy, dark weather, it's going to be more depressed. It's going to be harder to come out of it. And it's not, oh, they're just so silly they can't come out. No, this is physiology at play. And so more people need the energy that we can share with them. And it's not, I don't want to give you my energy, because I don't need to do that. I need to teach you how to tap into what you have inside you. And so as we start to connect the body the right way, that energy comes out. People like feel energized and lighter and stronger and more powerful. You know, there was that big amazing man, Philip, on the last course, you know, 6'11", maybe 7 foot. And when we went into his jaw, he got up and he says, I'm happy, which is a very unusual thing to say when you get up and you're walking. And we're like, what? He said, that's really weird. That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling happy. And I never feel happy. How did that work? And the answer is, I can't entirely tell you. All I can tell you is the pressure from here driving down made his body feel under pressure. If you're feeling under pressure all the time, how can you feel happy? You know, I'm not saying press here and this is your happy point. No. The pressure created robs you of that happiness, that joy, that ease. And so as we take the pressure out of the system and expand the system, these are the possibilities. So that's what we're working with. And I think I say it all the time now, the world needs help now more than ever, because it's kind of, I had a sad conversation today with someone talking about a young kid, 2 years old, who has speech problems. Why? Because lockdown for 2 years, so your entire growth development phase, where how do children learn? They mimic. Yeah. And so we've had mandatory mask wearing for 2 years. Mandatory in public, you wear a mask. Otherwise, you're in trouble, right? Children are losing the ability to develop speech. Why? Because how do you mimic what you can't see? When they were saying wear masks, nobody thought of that, because we're in a crisis. No. And so I'm not even going to judge anyone who said you must do this, you must do that. What we have to understand is there is a consequence to all of these things, and we're going to start to see it. And as therapists, we're definitely going to see it. It's an extra layer on top of your client. You know, it's how many of our therapists. So on level 1, we had quite a lot on the first course. We had 38, I think. Yeah. And how many of them were talking exactly that? All my clients are zeros. Zeros are an overwhelmed state. The body is almost, it's like a chronic fatigue. So all the clients, not, some, we're seeing a few more than usual. No, all of my clients are this, which means everyone is just sitting like, oh, now how does the body engage with the world? How, it's time to wake everyone up again.
True.
And it's funny, I'm just in case anyone's not sure, I am now awake. It's kind of like there's a part of me going, good Lord, imagine if I took drugs to energize myself, then we'd really be in trouble.
Again.
No. Yeah, so it's kind of, if someone's in their business and someone's in their practice and they're looking at their world and going, you should always be asking the question, is this the best way I can do it? Is this, why do I need to see my clients so many times to get this tiny little result? Well, unfortunately, then you're doing it wrong. It's simple as that. And when we change the way we look at the body and we change the way, like understanding of what the body wants to do and why it's doing what it's doing, immediately how you see the body and how you interpret the body changes. And suddenly every human being that comes in, it's quite exciting because it's a puzzle to unravel. And it's not a complex puzzle, but it can get complex, but it's fun. Whereas if you don't have a framework and like a a way of thinking about stuff. All you're left with is, oh, you're a shoulder, I must do this. Oh, you're a knee, I must do that. Boring as hell. Unfortunately, it's just, that's how it is. And then people go, oh yeah, but I do this and I do that technique, and that's awesome. Why is the body doing what it's doing? If you can't answer that, you're missing the point. You know, there's some amazing technique stuff out there, but nobody's talking about why the body's doing it in the first place.
No, and I think that's the beauty of this, and that's why also people's head on level 1, because they approach things instead of the old approaches or regular approaches. So
yeah, and what's the most common question we hear on workshops? Why didn't I learn about this earlier? You know, because they look back at sometimes 20 years of being a therapist, and suddenly you can see all those people you couldn't help. And you thought it was you. You thought you were a bad therapist. No, you just weren't armed with the right tools and the right thinking. And it's you know, so actually, no, I've got to study more. Oh, I'm not good enough. No, you are good enough. You need to be armed with the right philosophy, the right way of thinking, and then it's amazing what can happen.
Yeah, definitely.
And dude, we want to share that with people.
Exactly.
I think, don't we? I think so.
Yeah. I think that I wish I had that to begin with, because I've spent so much money on education after physio school, because physio school is like basis kind of, you know, you learn some anatomy, some physiology. That's awesome. You know pretty much shit when you're done, but it's just a basis.
But you got the piece of paper that says you're a professional.
Exactly. So you can, dig into people. That's all right. But but that's exactly what we want to give people, a new mindset, a new framework to do awesome stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's and so we want to make sure that you feel it first, because it doesn't help if we can help everyone else and you don't get it. So we want you feeling it in your own body, so that you feel stronger, you feel more energized, you overcome like barriers and limitations in your body, maybe pain in your body. And then it's much easier to go share it with other people, because you're going, yeah, well, this is what it did for me. And guess what? Every piece of marketing in the world says, have you got like credible testimonials? Now, if I am the testimonial, it's the easiest thing in the world, because I don't have to come up with some clever sales pitch. I just have to say, listen, my back has hurt for 12 years. I started this process, and halfway through the day, my pain was gone and it hasn't come back. And it's weird as hell. And someone will go, oh, can you do that stuff with me? Well, of course I can. And then you're good to go. You know, we don't have to sell anything, because we know it works and we know people change. And I think this is the coolest thing, because we're always doing the before. So we test something, then we do something, and then we test it again. So we know if what we did in the middle is working or not. If it's not working, you have to ask a better question, or you have to move to the next thing, because you haven't found the thing that the body wants yet. And so the whole system is about figuring out what the body wants, allowing the body to do its amazing stuff, and it does, you know. And so it's the craziest thing when I look over the last 20 years of the kind of people I've taught activation. So not just professionals, I've worked with groups of like 70, 80, 90-year-olds, 300 people in a room, teaching them how to do it themselves. I've done big conferences, I've done tight workshops, I've worked one-on-ones with top athletes, world champions, gold medalists, blah, blah, blah. I'm just trying to impress you. Are you impressed yet? But you know, the stuff that really gets me excited is what we do, what you and I do when we get 20, 30 people together in a room for 2 or 4 days, preferably 4 days, and we just do the work. Because watching people, like phase by phase, like one thing works a little bit, the next thing goes, and your whole system goes, what, no. How's my body doing that? That shouldn't do that. And the answer is no, it can do that. Yeah. It can. Yeah. And so, you know, like just imagine if if you suddenly realized how friggin' amazing you actually are. Now I sound kind of like a motivational speaker, but like for me to go,
you can do that too.
Oh, Kristoffer, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing. And you eventually go, dude, can you just shut up? Whereas if I said, dude, you're amazing, let's do some work in your body, let's free some stuff up. And in a few minutes, you're standing there going, oh my God, I'm amazing. Yes, you are. Why? Because your body will tell you, because you can feel it. You can feel the shifts, you can feel the changes. And then with that, you can go and do more. Or do less. Some people that do less means now their brain goes quiet. So they can, and others, they go, oh, now I've got the energy to go do stuff. Whereas before I didn't, I couldn't, I was afraid, I was, and we have all of those things. So it is exciting. And kind of, if you've never been part of this process before, please come join us. It will be fun. It will be, we will challenge so many of the things you believe to be true in a good way. We're not here to make things wrong. We want to show you a better way of doing things. If you've already been with me and been with us with teaching, and hell, even if you've just recently been with me, it's already going to be different. I promise you that. And
looks like it. Hey.
Yeah. and I feel I'm on the edge of more already. So I'm probably about 30% of the way through my own process that I've put myself on. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Looking forward to that, man.
Yeah.
Cool,
so,
man.
So Kristoffer, is there anything that you think someone would want to know?
I think you answered all my questions without me asking them. That's ouch. No, I think usually we just jump into the advanced stuff. So it was nice to get a little do a couple steps backwards and say, who are you? What are you doing? What are we doing? And what can this work do? Because that's, there's some crazy stuff happening, but that's, it's getting it from the beginning.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, and this is my own story. I think it's been such a long journey, the last 18 years of this work. So I've been doing it for 20 years, but I've been teaching it for 18. And it's this momentum and this craziness and somehow coming back from the last trip. So the last trip was first you in Denmark, and then going to Scotland, and then going to the UK down south. And it was amazing. Like in Scotland, there were a whole lot of people in that room that the last thing they did before lockdown was a workshop with me in Sheffield. It was amazing. And then their first time out was with me in Glasgow. And it was amazing. And when I say out, some of them hadn't been to restaurants for 2 years, but they decided to come and do workshops with me. It was amazing. So it was a real community getting together and really saying, come, how can we expand? And it was an amazing 4 days. But I realized that it was also hard because every time the rules were changing around me, and so it was tough to relax. And now the world's a little bit better, and with all of that, but I've reached the point where I'm better with it now. So it's far less likely to influence and stress me, and so I can keep bringing the best version of myself without what's going on happen. It's going, chaos happens around you. It always is going to. That's just welcome to life. Even in Denmark, it happens. Yep. Yeah, no. But isn't that the crazy thing? Like when we first started these workshops, 6 years ago? It is about that long now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So then we were like, Denmark was always happiest nation or top 3, and And I said,
it's not anymore. It's not anymore.
Yeah. But also the question is like, well, let's break down how they did the study. Let's ask questions and see how real that is. Because so what the last 2 years have done is it's taken a system and it's put it under a lot of pressure. And when you put a system under a lot of pressure, it either just rises to it and kind of expands into it and just manages, or it doesn't. And if you look at everywhere around the world, put pressure on, we've all failed. We were all fooling ourselves. And so we have to figure out a different way. It's got to start with you and me. And it's got to start in our own bodies and our way of doing it. And then everything becomes easy. And so I think that's why I'm so excited, because I feel like my 2022 took about a month before it started properly, because it was like a slow start. You know, even the normal things that I would share and teach about, like where you're going to and like what's your drivers, your purpose, your why in your system, in your body, I wasn't even doing it for myself. So I just got distracted by noise. And so, yeah. So we're gonna bring more stuff, dude.
Awesome. Looking forward to it as always.
So sweet.
Yeah. But cool, man. Thanks for hanging out with me.
Always.
Sharing and caring like always.
Cool.